We're going to take a drive in the new 2014 Jeep Cherokee. And we'll be taking a ride in the 2014 Mitsubishi Outlander with the GT package. And later in the video we'll take a look at this Ford Escape. Now, despite complaints from the minority, this is a very good looking vehicle, especially from the front. None of that squared look we had in previous Jeeps. A good appearance from the rear as well. Now, back when Mercedes ran Chrysler, or should I say ran Chrysler into the ground, they came out with two compact SUVs, the Jeep Compass and Patriots. And in the early days, these were not good vehicles. Very cheap bodies, cheap interiors. Although, to their credit, Chrysler did improve on them over the years. This is not a Compass or Patriot. This thing's built like a tank. I suspect a lot of components are from the Dodge Dart family because there's a lot of similarities here, not only from the engine but build quality. No cheap Tin Lizzy sheet metal here. A very, very good solid body structure. Something you would see on more expensive cars. The excellent build quality is also obvious in the interior. No cheap fall apart plastic in here. Nice materials and workmanship. The gauge cluster gives lots of good info, very easy to read. Simple buttons for the climate control, simple buttons for the radio controls. Thank you very much. If you order four-wheel drive, you can get the Select Terrain system, which has a knob for automatic, snow, sport mode, or sand and mud. Now, if you want something more aggressive, they have the Trailhawk edition. It offers high range, low range. It also ranges the suspension to 8.7 inches from 7.7 inches, and has skid plates too. For those of you who do more serious off-roading, that's the package for you, although it does cost more, obviously. The base engine is a four-banger rated at 184 horsepower. It's adequate for the two-wheel drive vehicles, but on 4x4 you're going to need more power than that. That's why you might want to look into the 3.2-liter V6 putting out 271 horsepower. A lot more grunt for you. Both engines are hooked to a 9-speed automatic transmission with so-called manual override. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we get on the road. The 4-cylinder can get up to 31 miles per gallon. This is rated at 19 to 27 miles per gallon. Now, in daily commuting, the Jeep Cherokee has a lot going for it. The most obvious to me was the suspension. This is not a cheap setup. Very sophisticated. Nice ride, great handling, soaks up bumps with ease, very comfortable. They obviously spent some money developing this. The brakes are excellent with good feel too. On the negative side, the steering just has no feedback to the driver, nor does it have feedback from the driver to the front end. It's quick enough, it's like steering in a big blob of jello. Now, this was the four-wheel drive, of course. Maybe the front-wheel drives are better. The steering takes some getting used to. Not bad, but definitely takes some getting used to. If you're used to driving older pickup trucks, it might not be a problem for you initially. Now, I'll call your attention to this. This shows what year you're in when you're in the manual mode. We'll be looking at that as soon as I get on the freeway, because there are a few things you need to know about this 9-speed automatic transmission. Some good, some bad. Now, this transmission has a few quirks, as I'll demonstrate here. As you see on the dash, I've got it in manual 7th gear, but I shift into 8, I'm still in 7th. The tachometer is still stuck at 2,000 RPM. I mainly shift into 9, and it says 9 on the dash, but I'm still stuck in 7th gear at 2,000 RPM. Very, very odd. Furthermore, if I floor it, I'll downshift into 6, overriding the manual, which kind of defeats the purpose of having it anyway, and the indicator still says 9. I don't get it. So I've got two issues with this gearbox. Number one, the indicator on the dash is pretty much useless because it doesn't really tell you what gear you're in. Number two, the manual override isn't really manual override because the car still shifts the way it would as if it was in drive. Number three, I was never able to get this in 9th gear, regardless of how fast I was going. Now, other car publications have tested this Jeep and they couldn't either. One journalist said the only way he could do it was to get up to 100 miles per hour. Apparently, Jeep needs to do some recalibrating on this transmission. It's not a bad gearbox, really, but it has some odd features I find kind of, well, odd. The best advice I can give you, just put the thing in drive and leave it alone. Now it's time to do a bit of off-roading. The tires are a bit noisy, but the suspension is doing a great job of soaking up the bumps. It's jerk-off vandals like this that make life difficult for everybody else. What a bunch of idiots. After banging around on these rough roads, I think the Jeep needs a rest, so let's go inside and take a look at the price tag. Now, the base price of a Jeep Cherokee runs around $24,000 for the 4-cylinder 2-wheel drive. This one was loaded up with a bunch of goodies. Satellite radio, $400. AM/FM stereo, $800. $1,495 for that V6 engine, which is certainly worth the price. Luxury group with leather seats, etc. One thing I could live without is the technology group for $2,155. It has the adaptive cruise control with stop and go, which I don't like. The only person who should be driving the car is the driver, not some gadget. Automatic high beam headlight control, another automatic gadget I don't want. Advanced brake assist, forward collision warning with crash mitigation. Technology group, parallel and perpendicular park assist. Now, from what I've read on this, you pull up to a parking space, press a button, and the vehicle parks itself. I didn't try it. I don't want to try it because I have no interest in that. Once again, the only person that should be driving the car is the driver. So I'll pass on the technology package. But if you like something like that, go right ahead. Bottom line, $37,425. And bear in mind the Trailhawk with the 4-wheel drive low system is going to be more, so we're probably looking around 40 grand. Woo. Well, people wanted more quality in their small Jeeps, and you got it, but you got to pay. Aside from my minor gripes about the steering feel and transmission shifting, this is an excellent vehicle and probably one of the best SUVs Chrysler's ever made. Very high quality vehicle, and I think most buyers are going to be very happy with it. Very well done. And we'll be taking a ride in the 2014 Mitsubishi Outlander with the GT package. Now we'll take a closer look at the 2014 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now, the base engine is a 2.4 liter putting out 166 horsepower with a CVT automatic transmission, rated at 25 to 31 miles per gallon with an average of 25. We had the larger 3.0-liter V6 engine rated at 224 horsepower, hooked to a 6-speed automatic and all-wheel drive. The gas mileage rating is 20 to 28 miles per gallon with an average of 23. Now, most small V6 engines in these compact SUVs run around 260 to 270 horsepower, so the 224 rating on this looks a bit low, at least on paper. Of course, in the real world, things might change, so we'll let you know as we drive it a bit more. The quality of materials and workmanship in the Outlander is nothing fancy, but pretty sturdy. Will certainly do. The gauge cluster provides lots of useful information, including the low pressure warning light that's been on for a while. That's a whole different story. The radio system has simple knobs. Thank you. The climate control system doesn't have simple knobs, but does have simple controls, so we'll give it a free pass on that. The all-wheel drive control button offers normal mode, eco mode, snow mode, and lock mode for going off-road. Very easy to use, sitting right there. The glove box size isn't outstanding, but it will do. The Outlander does have one design flaw, at least in my opinion. Under the door we have the so-called rocker panels that are excessively wide, about 10 inches in the narrowest spot. which means every time you step out of the vehicle, your legs rubbing on the outside bodywork. That's part one. And part two, to make matters worse, you have this outside shelf which collects dirt, mud, and other debris, which of course collects on your pants. There is no logical reason whatsoever to have this here. It serves no purpose whatsoever, except to get your pants dirty, of course. Just something you need to know if you're going to be driving an Outlander. By the way, guys, if you're dating a girl who likes to dress up, especially wearing white slacks, she's not going to be very happy rubbing her pants on this, as I found out the hard way. Another little note for you. I'm told the Outlander uses a lot of performance parts off their Mitsubishi sports sedans, and it's probably true because the steering has great feel, the handling is excellent on curved roads, and the brake performance is very good too. A very sporty, fun car to drive. As far as ride comfort, that varies. If you drive the vehicle with the 35 pounds per square inch that's recommended on the side panel here, the ride is very, very bad, very stiff. Horrible. On the other hand, if you lower the tire pressures to 30 pounds per square inch like I did, the ride is very comfortable and it does not affect handling that much. So if you're driving a Mitsubishi Outlander and you think the ride is a bit too stiff, lower the tire pressures like I did and it solves the problem. Little tip for you. While the horsepower rating of this engine looks low on paper, there's no problem in everyday driving. Got lots of power, lots of low end torque, lots of passing ability. Gas mileage for this V6 and several hundred miles of driving is 18 miles per gallon in heavy city traffic, 22 in mixed commuting, and 26.5 at 75 mile per hour cruising. Not bad. In a week of driving, there's one other little bitch I have about the Outlander. It has to do with the sun visor. It doesn't slide back and forth, which means you can get a big blob of sun in your face. A nice tan, even though you don't want it. Even inexpensive, cheap cars in the $10,000 bracket have sun visors that slide back and forth. Kind of odd this car doesn't. Okay, to review everything, the Mitsubishi has a nice strong engine, excellent handling and steering braking performance, a smooth ride if you listen to what I told you about the tire pressures. On the negative side, we have the sun visors that are substandard, and those rocker panels underneath that can get your pants dirty. But those are two minor complaints. Nothing to overly worry about. This brings us to the price tag. The base car with the 4-cylinder runs around $23,000. The V6 car, $28,000. You get the GT package. It adds an extra $6,100 to the price tag. It gives you all kinds of goodies like radar cruise control, sunroof, etc. Which means you have a fully loaded vehicle stickering just under $35,000. But the positive side, Mitsubishi doesn't sell too many vehicles in this country, so you won't see yourself coming and going all the time. A good alternative if you don't like the Chrysler, Ford, Honda, and Toyota offerings. And later in the video we'll take a look at this Ford Escape. Now we'll get back to the Ford Escape. You might have noticed this looks a lot like a Ford Focus. This is because it's based on the same platform as a Ford Focus. It is a nice looking car. I did get some compliments. There are 3 engines available in the Escape. Base one is a 2.5 liter putting out 168 horsepower. Optional is a 1.6 liter turbo putting out 178 horsepower. And we have this engine here, a 2 liter putting out 240 horsepower. They're all rated around 25 mile per gallon in mixed driving, so you might as well get this engine. This is a 2-wheel drive version, so if you get 4-wheel drive, you're going to lose 2 or 3 miles per gallon on the rating. This power plant's hooked to a 6-speed automatic transmission. This engine has lots of pep. Very, very brisk. which is of course why you should get it over the other two engines. The Escape is capable of going off pavement, and there is enough ground clearance to get over small rocks. You have to remember this isn't a Jeep and a car chassis as well, so you have to be cautious. This is for light duty off-roading only. And the suspension is doing a very good job of absorbing bumps and ruts. On pavement, the vehicle handles like a sports sedan with excellent steering feel, very good handling, and the braking performance is excellent too. Of course, as I said earlier, this is based on a car design and drives as well as the car version. A big plus. Very nice sporting vehicle to use. The ride quality on this one's a little bit on the firm side, but certainly not uncomfortable. It would still be a good choice for long trips. I did notice that at certain angles the dash reflects into the windshield. I believe you can see it on the screen here. Kind of annoying. I think we'll pull over in the sticks here and take a look at the interior. This is a very nice modern looking cabin. It's a little drab looking because of the black interior. I'm sure if you got a tan color it would look a lot better. The legroom is a bit limited with the seats back all the way, but otherwise people sitting back here in the second row seats shouldn't have an issue. Lots of cargo space in the rear, even more if you put the seats down. The gauge cluster is easy to read and has lots of useful information on it. The climate control buttons are reasonably easy to use, although some of the buttons are a little bit on the small side. There's nothing simple about programming this radio. It's going to take some time and work on this one. You've got a lot of controls on the steering wheel that makes life a little bit easier. The Escape starts in the low $20,000 bracket, but this one was loaded up with everything you can get. And we have a nice sticker of $35,625 plus tax. Wow. But like I said, this has everything on it. With the Escape, you can eat your cake and have it too, because you're getting two vehicles. You're getting a sporty sedan, and you're getting a nice SUV you can take off the road occasionally. But be careful with the options, because you can run up the price with this thing quite high.